In the summer the ants were a-working, bringing food to their hill every day, while the grasshopper sang in the sunshine. On his fiddle his song he did play. Fi-dee-di-dee-da-doo-da-dee-da-do, fi-dee-do-dee-da-dee-dee-da-day.
Ant and Grasshopper, written by Lully Gray. Ant was rich. His house was very grand with many rooms, and the storeroom was his favorite. All through the spring and summer he worked hard, gathering things to eat for the winter, and every afternoon he went to the storeroom to count them. By June, he had 947 beans, 28 raisins, and a fine smelly wedge of yellow cheese. 945, he counted, 946, 947. Then he took exactly 3 bites of cheese. "Delicious," he said, and he began to count his raisins. One day as he was counting, he heard a noise. "Shh," he said, "I'm counting." The noise went on and on. Ant opened the door, and there on his lawn stood a grasshopper playing a fiddle. "Well, I never," said the ant. "Well, I always," said the grasshopper. "It's June, Ant. The sun is warm, the sky is blue. Come out and dance. I'll play for you." "Humph," said Ant. "You should be storing up food for winter, not fiddling around wasting time." All summer long, Ant worked hard. Every afternoon he counted his beans and his raisins and his cheese, and all summer long he heard Grasshopper playing his fiddle and singing. Sometimes the music got into Ant's head and made him lose count. 24, no, 26, oh, drat that hopper grass. September came. It was harvest time, and Ant added to his rich store. He had 604 kernels of corn, 72 peanuts, and a piece of ham bigger than he was. "Delicious and nutritious," he said. "Come, ye thankful creatures, come, sing a song of harvest home. All is safely gathered in, ere the winter storms begin," sang Grasshopper, peeking in the window. "Oh, hush," said Ant, yanking down the shade. October came, with bright leaves tumbling on a breeze that carried a promise of winter. Ant sat fidgeting at his desk, trying to add up his accounts. But his pen kept making swans out of the 2s and fat snowmen out of the 8s, and the numbers hopped around in his head, refusing to settle down. 604 kernels of corn, gathered on a summer morn. No. 7 ounces of ham. Yes, ma'am. Oh, for heaven's sakes, what is wrong with me? He heard a tap, tap, tapping, and flung open the door. "Oh, Ant, let me in. There's a good fellow. It's getting cold, and I'm so hungry." "Ha," said Ant. "I knew it was you with your fiddle-dee-doo. I warned you. You danced and sang all summer, while respectable folks worked hard for a living, and it serves you right. Good night." And he slammed the door and went back to counting. November blew in cold and blustery. "Ooh," cried the wind, rattling the windows while Ant paced back and forth. "I'm sure I don't know what's gotten into me," he muttered. He sat down by the fire, watching the flames dance up the chimney. "I wonder," said Aunt. "I wish—" The clock struck 10. Bong, 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 bong. Aunt went to bed. But fragments of rhymes and wisps of music jangled about in his head, and he thrashed and kicked till the bedclothes were all a tangle. When at last he fell asleep, he dreamed he stood on a stage before a great crowd that shouted, "Play! Dance! Sing!" And he couldn't play a note or dance a dance. He opened his mouth to sing, but there wasn't one song in him. No song at all. "I can't. I'm an ant." "Boo!" roared the crowd. "Boo!" The cold, hateful booing blew Ant right out of bed with a bump, and he woke up. The night had grown quiet. Too quiet, thought Ant. He ran to the door, and there on the step lay Grasshopper, barely visible under a thick layer of snow. "Grasshopper, is that you?" said Ant. "What are you doing? Get up, go home." "Don't have a home," said Grasshopper, his teeth chattering. "No home!" exclaimed Ant. "I never heard of such a thing." After a moment, Ant dragged Grasshopper into the house, where he laid him by the fire in the second best peanut shell. "Cold," Grasshopper said, shivering. "Oh, yes, indeed, poor fellow. Have some hot cider," said Ant. But Grasshopper was shivering too hard to swallow. "Here," said Ant. "Here are 5 delicious beans and 3 bites of nutritious cheese and 2 more licious raisins." But Grasshopper was shivering too hard to eat. Ant tucked a dandelion down quilt around the Grasshopper. "I didn't know," Ant said. "I had no idea. I didn't mean—" Grasshopper's eyes opened, and he looked up at Ant. "Hello, Ant," he said. "Ah-choo!" "Bless you," said Ant, wiping the sneeze off his face. "Bless you," said Grasshopper. Did I hear you mention beans and raisins?" All through the winter, Grasshopper stayed with Ant, playing and singing every evening when Ant was done counting. One evening, as the old year drew to a close, the 2 friends sat by the fire. 1,142, said Ant, closing the account book with a sigh. "Sometimes," he said, "sometimes I wish I could sing just a bit, you know." "Sing," said Grasshopper. "Anyone can sing. But working hard and counting are splendid things. Why, you saved my life with your 11 beans, raisins, and corn." 1,142 actually, said Ant, "including peanuts. But anyone can count." "Not me," said Grasshopper. He played a chord on his fiddle. "Do you know 'Here We Come a-Waffling'?" He sang it 3 times through, and then rather shyly and, to tell the truth, quite off-key, Ant joined in. "Here we come a-waffling with syrup and with jam. Here we come to dance a jig and eat a lot of ham. Pizza, joy, come to you, made of pickles, mice, and glue. And we wish you and squish you a happy new year. And we wish you a happy new year." "I wish I could sing like you," said Ant. I love the way you sing, said Grasshopper, and I wish I could count. Oh, Grasshopper, said Ant, everybody counts.
To the anthill, he was cold and embarrassed and sad. But the ants told him that he was welcome. Then he thanked them and felt really glad. Fighty-di-di-da-doo, da-di-da-do. Fighty-do.